I stand before you as a mother whose only child was taken by something so preventable, so cruel, and so ignored that it should shake every person in this room to their core. A woman online befriended James on Instagram. She created what every predator knows how to build, a safe space. She made him feel comfortable, seen, liked. She groomed him. Then she asked if he wanted to see her unclothed and exposed herself. She asked him to do the same. And like any innocent 17-year-old boy who liked a girl and saw no danger, he did. That moment she created became their weapon. The attackers came, not one person, but what we believe, at least four. For nearly 20 hours, they attacked, threatened, terrorized, dismantled my child. Every time he tried to fight back and ask, "Why are you doing this to me? Please leave me alone," they escalated, sending his image to friends and family, telling him he would be labeled a pedophile, telling him his future was over, telling him you should just kill yourself. Chairman Grassley, Ranking Member Durbin, and committee members, thank you for allowing me to speak today. My name is Tamia Woods, and I speak on the behalf of myself, my husband Tim, and for our beautiful child, James Timothy Woods, forever age 17. I stand before you as a mother whose only child was taken by something so preventable, so cruel, and so ignored that it should shake every person in this room to their core. One of the messages sent to my son, and I quote, "I am more determined to rot your life than to make it a waste, a trash can, a shame, a dishonor, a hell, a real disaster, a hell on earth. And I remind you that I am heartless. I have no pity to rot a life as well as yours." This was one of almost 200 messages sent to my child over the span of 19 and a half hours between November 18th and 19th, 2022. James was the victim of financial sextortion, and though he died by suicide, let me be clear, he was murdered. James was a beautiful young man with a soul like gold and a smile that would light up any room. He would give you the shirt off his back. He could figure out anything. He was witty, thoughtful, kind, and loved chess. James was a high school senior. He wanted to major in pre-law, and he was months away from breaking a 40-year-old school record in the 110 hurdles. Every time I speak of him, I smile because I am grateful God let me borrow his angel for 17 and a half years. But every day I am angry. A woman online befriended James on Instagram. She created what every predator knows how to build, a safe space. She made him feel comfortable, seen, liked. She groomed him. Then she asked if he wanted to see her unclothed and exposed herself. She asked him to do the same. And like any innocent 17-year-old boy who liked a girl and saw no danger, he did. That moment she created became their weapon. The attackers came, not one person, but what we believe, at least four. For nearly 20 hours, they attacked, threatened, terrorized, dismantled my child. Every time he tried to fight back and ask, "Why are you doing this to me? Please leave me alone," they escalated, sending his image to friends and family, telling him he would be labeled a pedophile, telling him his future was over, telling him you should just kill yourself. And in those last moments, my son, who had everything to live for, felt like he had no other choice. A day that started with laughter, college friends, and joy ended with my husband finding our child unalive in our home in the middle of the day. No parent should ever enter a room and see that. I stand here because 19 and a half hours is not a short time in the digital world. It is a lifetime. It is enough time for someone to intervene, to flag an account, to cancel messages, to report this behavior. Yet no one stepped in. No system protected him. No platform stopped it. So my husband and I created the Do It for James Foundation. And since the day that James have died, we dedicated our lives to speaking out, teaching, and fighting so that no other parent feels the pain that sits in our heart every single moment of every single day. Large corporations continue to argue for rights while refusing to take responsibility. We are asking you to put laws in place that give us multiple avenues to protect our kids because parental controls alone are not enough. Click here to opt out at age 13 is not protection. Predators thrive when the risk is low but reward is high. Criminals are making billions by exploiting our children because we tell our parents, monitor your kids better. everywhere, while platforms refuse to monitor predators at all. How dare we lay blame on the victims while criminals walk free? Today, instead of checking on James' homework, instead of mailing him care packages to his college dorm, instead of cheering him on for track meets, I hold a picture of my son's photos that he never had a chance to see. Because that is all I have left. 17 and a half years of memories, but no new ones. So I am begging you to stand with this, stand up, do something, help us save lives. We may not be able to save them all, but with the right laws, with accountability, with real consequences, we can make it harder for predators to win. We can make it harder for another parent to bury their child. Please do it for James. Do it for every child whose name we never got a chance to learn. Thank you. Thank you.
Good morning, Chairman Grassley, Ranking Member Durbin, and members of the committee. Thank you for inviting me to testify here today. My name is Jessica Lieber-Smolar, and I had the honor of serving as an Assistant United States Attorney in the Western District of Pennsylvania for 3 decades. During my career as a federal prosecutor, I personally handled and oversaw hundreds of child exploitation and human trafficking investigations and prosecutions. When I first began prosecuting these offenses, investigations often centered around physical evidence and traditional mail-based exchanges. Over time, I witnessed a monumental shift in the types of child sexual abuse material, also referred to as CSAM, that offenders collected, as well as their methods of collection. This shift was not limited to the sheer volume and disturbing nature of the material. It also encompassed the tools offenders used to acquire, share, and conceal CSAM. Today, every child exploitation case involves the criminal use of cellular phones and computers. Offenders use these tools to stockpile massive quantities of sexually explicit videos and images of children, frequently targeting prepubescent children. Violent depictions of infants and toddlers being sexually exploited were routinely collected by the defendants whom I prosecuted. Offenders also increasingly used advanced technology and platforms for CSAM trafficking. They congregate in online communities and darknet forums solely devoted to child exploitation. They can now more easily conceal their crimes and their identities through encryption, VPNs, the darknet, and remote erasure software. The law has not kept pace with the rapid technological advances or evolving sex offender behavior. United States Sentencing Guidelines, Section 2G 2.2, was designed when CSAM was distributed by mail. So it adds offense enhancements for actions common to all CSAM offenders today, like using a computer, possessing images of prepubescent minors, or amassing many images. The guideline enhancements apply broadly and no longer reflect varying levels of offender culpability or risk. Legislation is needed to amend the CSAM guidelines. The Sentencing Commission's June 2021 report found that Section 2G2 is outdated, leading judges to exercise their discretion to reduce sentences for child sexual offenders. The Commission's data for fiscal year 2019 showed that less than 30% of non-production child pornography offenders were sentenced within the recommended guidelines. This statistic reflects broad judicial dissatisfaction and leads to inconsistent sentencing nationwide. As federal prosecutors, my colleagues and I often considered plea offers to binding sentences to avoid the application of the insufficient sentencing guidelines and sentencing disparities. There are also emerging crimes that are not fully covered by existing criminal statutes, such as those committed by members of the violent online network 764. The 764 members befriend children sometimes as young as 9 years old through popular online platforms and then coerce them into escalating sexual, self-destructive, and violent behavior, compelling victims to document sex acts, harm siblings and family pets, cut and mutilate themselves, or attempt suicide. There are no federal statutes that adequately criminalize the coercive conduct of 764 and similar groups. As federal prosecutors, we focused on proving more conventional statutory violations, like CSAM possession or production or distribution of obscenity to minors, to effectively prosecute these horrific crimes. Similarly, law enforcement agencies have reported an alarming increase in sextortion cases, children being coerced into sending sexually explicit images online, like James that we just heard about. Perpetrators engage victims in flirtatious conversations on social media and gaming platforms where they feel comfortable to obtain explicit images. The offenders then use the sexually compromising images to blackmail victims for more images, or in the case of financial extortion, for money or gift cards. They threaten to widely publicize the image to the child's friends and family. Children suffer severe emotional distress as a result of such sexual extortion, and too many have engaged in self-harm or suicide. As federal prosecutors, we found it challenging to effectively charge sextortion and financial sextortion. Existing statutes do not adequately address the full scope or severe harm of these crimes. Increasing public understanding of the evolving and destructive risk to children online is crucial. Legislation is needed to strengthen the legal framework and better support those responsible for protecting children. I welcome your questions. Thank you.